In January 2019, a 6'5" charismatic founder convinced the world's most powerful investors that his office landlord business was actually a revolutionary tech company worth $47 billion. 9 months later, the company was worth practically zero, over 2,000 employees were fired, and the founder walked away with $1.7 billion in cold hard cash. This is the story of the greatest financial heist in startup history. Most founders who destroy $47 billion of investor value end up broke, sued, or in federal prison. But Adam Neumann isn't most founders. By weaponizing Silicon Valley's fear of missing out, and exploiting a Japanese billionaire's worst impulse, Neumann pulled off a wealth transfer so lucrative that Wall Street is still trying to figure out how it was legal. Here is how WeWork went from a single floor in Brooklyn to a global illusion that burned $11 billion. In 2010, Adam Neumann and Miguel McKelvey opened the first WeWork in Soho, New York. The idea was simple: rent office space long-term from landlords, chop it up into modern micro-offices with glass walls and free draft beer, and sublease desks to freelancers at a premium. There was just one massive problem: that's traditional commercial real estate. Real estate companies trade at low valuation multiples because they carry huge debt and long-term lease liabilities. Neumann knew that if Wall Street saw WeWork as a landlord, it would be valued at a couple $100 million at best. So he rebranded real estate as space as a service. He told investors WeWork wasn't selling desks, it was building a global physical social network powered by proprietary algorithms. Silicon Valley venture capitalists, hungry for the next Uber or Airbnb, fell for it hook, line, and sinker. By 2014, WeWork was valued at $5 billion. Think about this: a standard software company spends money once to build an app, then sells it to millions with zero extra cost. WeWork had to sign 15-year leases, and spend millions renovating every single building it opened. The bigger it got, the more money it lost. The real turning point came in December 2016, when Masayoshi Son, the head of SoftBank's $100 billion Vision Fund, visited New York. Son gave Neumann a 12-minute tour of WeWork's headquarters, before inviting him into his limousine. Inside the car, Masa's son pulled out an iPad, sketched a digital contract, and asked Neumann, in a fight, who wins, the smart guy or the crazy guy? Neumann replied, the crazy guy. Son smiled and said, you are right, but you and your partner are not crazy enough. SoftBank proceeded to dump over $10 billion into WeWork, pushing its valuation to a mind-boggling $47 billion in January 2019. Fueled by endless cash, Neumann went on an unhinged spending spree. He bought a $60 million Gulfstream private jet, invested in a wave pool company, launched a private school called WeGrow, and used WeWork funds to buy 5 luxury homes. Here is the ultimate red flag: before WeWork even went public, Adam Neumann secretly cashed out over $700 million, by selling his own personal shares, and taking loans against company stock. While investors thought he was building a trillion-dollar company, Neumann was already quietly wiring his fortune out the back door. In August 2019, WeWork filed its official S-1 paperwork with the SEC, to prepare for its public IPO. For the first time, institutional Wall Street investors got to look inside the accounting books. And what they saw horrified them. The filing revealed that for every $1 WeWork made in revenue, it was spending $2. It had accumulated $47 billion in future lease obligations, while making zero profit. Even worse were the bizarre self-dealing moves. Neumann had bought properties with borrowed money and rented them back to WeWork, and he even trademarked the word "we" personally, forcing his own company to pay him $5.9 million to use the name. Within 33 days, public backlash exploded. Investors refused to buy the stock. The IPO valuation plummeted from $47 billion, down to under $10 billion, forcing WeWork to cancel the listing entirely. Without fresh public capital, WeWork was weeks away from running out of money. Desperate to save their multi-billion-dollar investment, SoftBank stepped in to push Neumann out. But because Neumann controlled the voting shares, he had SoftBank completely trapped. To get Neumann to hand over key control and walk out the door, SoftBank was forced to offer him a golden parachute package, $1 billion to buy out his stock, a $185 million consulting fee, and $500 million in credit lines. In November 2023, WeWork filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, declaring its equity virtually worthless. SoftBank lost an estimated $14 billion, the worst single investment disaster in tech history. Meanwhile, Adam Neumann walked away a multi-billionaire. The collapse of WeWork proved that high valuation is not the same as high value. When venture capitalists prioritize hype, charismatic narrative, and vanity metrics over real unit economics, bankruptcy is inevitable. Adam Neumann didn't build a tech giant. He built a real estate business, wrapped in a tech narrative. And in the end, he executed the ultimate startup playbook, getting paid like a winner, while leaving investors to clean up the mess. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe for more business and billionaire insights.